I'd like to start off with giving you the definition of mental illnesses. According to NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illnesses, they define mental illness as a medical disorder that disrupts somebody's mental thought process, their feelings, their moods, their ability to relate to others, as well as their daily functioning. Now, I'd like to go back in time to July 20th, 2012. We're in Aurora, Colorado, outside of the Century 16 movie theater, awaiting for the midnight screening of The Dark Knight Rises. As we enter, people are rushing to get their refreshments, hurrying back to get the best seat possible. 18 minutes within the movie, a man emerges from the bottom of the theater, dressed in all black. People think this is a promo of some sort, along with the midnight screening. As he begins shooting, people realize that this was real. They began to duck and dive, hearing people scream and cry, and some even saw blood. James Holmes killed 12 people that night and wounded 58 in the process. Now, it's still in discussion whether or not he was mentally ill at the time of this occurrence. Whenever he was brought to trial, he did plead that he was mentally ill. And once the media heard about this, they ran to the press and in big bold letters attached mentally ill alongside crime. Now, the media perceives that mentally ill people are dangerous, are only capable of committing serious crimes such as the Aurora shooting. But that's not what mental illnesses are. As I said, mental illnesses is a medical condition that disrupts a person's thoughts, feelings, moods, etc. A whopping 1/4 of the US population every given year suffers from mental illnesses. Now you could say, how is it 1/4 every single year? This is because mental illness has a very wide range. For example, ADD, schizophrenia, and the most common that people know about is depression. Now, people assume that the mentally ill are only capable of crime, and that's all we know of. 40 years ago, the mentally ill were not talked about. If someone suffered from depression, for example, it was behind closed doors. They were only talked about saying that they were suicidal. It wasn't a topic many people talked about. It was a shame. So, like I said, 25% of the US population are mentally ill. And for all of the crime that happens within every year, only 7.5% are mentally ill that commit these crimes. Now, 7.5% is less than 1/3 of 25%. So, how can the mentally ill be capable of committing all of this crime? Why are they only perceived as dangerous, as committing a crime? There's a large circle, and that large circle represents crime. And within that large circle is a smaller circle, which represents the mentally ill. Like I said, there's so much crime to go around and little mentally ill people. So why are we associating that the mentally ill are only capable of crimes? The reason for that being is because we don't know exactly what mental illnesses are. We only perceive them to be what the media educates us about, which is only when a mass murder occurs. Now, without knowing what mental illnesses are, or is, we associate them only with such as the Aurora shooting. Now, that was a crime, don't get me wrong, it was a crime. And there is discussion whether he is mentally ill or not. But I'm not here to find out if he was mentally ill or was it a cold-blooded murder. But if he was in fact mentally ill, and we were educated, is there something that we could have done to prevent this from happening? To prevent the people who died from dying? Now, I have a note card. Julian Peterson, A psychology professor at Normandale Community College stated that the vast majority of people with mental illnesses are not violent, not criminal, and not dangerous. So why is our perception on mentally ill still that they commit crimes, that they're violent, that they're criminals, that they're dangerous? By being educated, we perceive, our perception changes. Our perception, as of right now, on mentally ill is wrong. We just know it as crime because the media tells us about that. That's the only way we get this information. But by educating ourselves, we enhance our capability of going out there and telling people what mental illnesses really are. So we need to stand up against stigma. Let's talk about mental health. This is a topic that's not spoken upon as much as it needs to be. You hear about breast cancer awareness. You hear about the LGBT. But little talk is known about the mental health. For instance, I'm pretty sure none of y'all know that this month that we're in right now, May, is the Mental Health Awareness Month. Not many people know about that. So what do? Get educated. Yes, that means homework. Nobody wants to do homework. I mean, we're barely getting by this semester right now. And by being educated, you're facing the problem, but in order to face the problem, you need to know what the problem is. It's just like taking a test. You don't go take a test and just say, oh, I'm going to wing it. Well, I mean, some of us do, at least who has Kirby? You wing Kirby? Yes? But that's not what we need to do. We need to study. We need to do our homework. We need to find out what exactly mental illnesses are, so that way we don't perceive them to be something they're not. People who have the perception that mentally ill are just associated with crime it's not talked upon as much. They want to stay away from people who have mental illnesses because they do see them as dangerous. So, by knowing this information, you can stop people from being afraid to help or afraid to care about what this is because they're afraid to be hurt. And that's bringing awareness. By being educated, you're also bringing awareness to your community. So you're allowing your community to know what's exactly going on. You could be talking to somebody in the hallway or having a conversation with them every single day and not know that they're having symptoms of mental illness problems. Whether it's depression, schizophrenia, ADD, anything. You're educating yourself to know what symptoms they have. To know that if they are not wanting help, that you can help them. You can save them from something as horrific as a murder happening. Now, like I said, only 25% of the nation are mentally ill. And with that 25%, we automatically assume that they are criminals, that they're dangerous. But like I said, homework. We need to do homework. We need to find out what exactly is this, what is mental illness? Being aware. Keep talking about mental health. It's a subject that people need to know about. It's not something that you can see on the outside. It's something inside, and that's something people face. That's the hardest thing, to fight themselves from doing something. And there are symptoms that you can know about, such as depression, since that's a leading topic. You can educate yourself to be aware, what are the symptoms, what are the side effects, and you can help them. So, by being educated and aware, can't we save someone's life? Can't we be aware or do homework for a couple of minutes just to brush up on what mental illnesses really are? Because in that short amount of time, you can change someone's life. And now you're thinking, okay, well, I'm educated, I'm aware. What's next? Nobody's going to listen to me. I'm one voice. Well, I mean, look at me. I'm one voice, and I'm here talking about mental health, mental illnesses. I'm one voice, and you can do anything. You can be on TEDx. You can have this amazing opportunity to be on an organization that vastly expands their topics, allowing people to know what mental illnesses are. So just by being one voice, you're not just somebody. You can spread the word of mouth, by allowing somebody to know what awareness, what education and the mental illness awarenesses are. It'll spread like a virus. Sooner or later, your whole community will know what it is. And sooner or later, you can save a life. Thank you.